Hello and welcome, our blood viewers, to RT's News English Edition. As usual, we'll bring to you tonight's major and top highlights. Opening of the first ordinary session of the National Assembly of the year 2023. Global warming will reach 1.5 Celsius by 2030-2035 according to the IPCC. Those were the international scenes. Those were our major and top highlights. Welcome to our newsroom, our beloved viewers. The National Assembly, under the leadership of President Deleta Mohamed Deleta, proceeded this Tuesday, March 21st, 2023, to the solemn opening of the first ordinary session of Parliament for the year 2023. In accordance with the Constitution and the perceptions of the rule of procedure, this ceremony took place in the hemicycle in the presence of the Prime Minister Mr. Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, members of the government, representatives of the institutions of the Republic, the prefects of Djibouti and regions, representatives of the diplomatic corps, and consular associated to Djibouti. The solemn ceremony began with the performance of the national anthem, followed by the speech of the President of the National Assembly himself, Mr. Deleta Mohamed Deleta, who wished all the elected representatives of the people an excellent return to the Parliament, hoping that the resumption of work will be fruitful and beneficial for our country, and that our institution and its regulating missions will continue to implement in an efficient way the instruments of control of the action of the executive and the evaluation of public policies, giving the importance of this republican tradition that constitutes the general policy. In his presentation, the Prime Minister presented in a solemn way the main lines of his government program and the main measures he wishes to implement. As you all can see here, the images, the first session of the assembly began with the presence of high official ranking personalities, including ministers and parliamentarians. The President of the National Assembly delivered a speech emphasizing the importance of his role in bringing together his fellow parliamentarians. He highlighted his responsibility in engaging the participation of members of different political parties in promoting a productive parliamentary policy. Mr. Deleta stressed the significance of creating links and bridges between parliamentarians, the electorate, and members of the government. Overall, his speech aimed to foster collaboration and unity within the political system here in Djibouti. Let's listen to him.
Cette première session inaugurale.
It is a great honor to be with you today for the opening of these new and first ordinary sessions of the Ninth Parliament. On this occasion, allow me to welcome once again all the eminent personalities here present, as well as my colleagues and all the newly elected members to this August Assembly. I would also like to take this opportunity to reiterate my thanks to the President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, for his confidence and support for my candidacy for the post of President of the National Assembly. Ladies and gentlemen, for this first opening of the session, I have to remind you that the functions of the President of the Republic is a very important one, for it is my responsibility and role to be a man who brings his peers together, to be a man who engages the participations of members of political parties and who subscribes to a deep, productive parliamentary policy that gives meaning to our political commitment to create links, a bridge between us parliamentarians to the electorate that has put us in the spotlights and members of the government. It is a matter of working in line with parliamentary tradition, that is to say, in the continuity of the achievement under the presidency of my predecessor. But it is also a question of giving a new impetus of this hemicycle by making the necessary changes in order to consolidate this achievement with a transformative approach to practices. Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, this first inaugural session of the ninth legislature is for me as well as for you. I hope a privileged moment that perpetuate the virtues and essential values that are so dear to our parliamentary life. By virtues and values, I mean the universality of the development objectives to be achieved that characterized our internal exchanges and our parliamentary.
His Excellency the Prime Minister Mr. Abdul Ghadir Kamil Mohammed presented during the meeting the general policy of the government reviewing the most important development projects that the government seeks to accomplish this year. On the other hand, the Prime Minister Mr. Abdul Ghadir Kamil Mohammed indicated that the government will strongly support the policy related to local development by promoting innovations and developing sectors with high employment capacity. At the end of his speech, the Prime Minister Mr. Abdul Ghadir Kamil Mohammed explained that the government seeks to support people with limited income with the aim of urban development. Still, His Excellency, the Prime Minister Mr. Abdul Ghadir Kamil Mohammed received this morning Dr. Rumeh Al-Rumah, Deputy Minister of Transport and Logistics Service President of the Saudi General Authority of Transport, accompanied by a strong delegation. The two parties discussed ways and means to further enhance the privileged cooperation relations between the Republic of Djibouti and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia before reviewing several topics of common interest, including transport and logistics. Finally, it should be noted that the discussions between the Prime Minister and the Saudi Deputy Minister of Transport were held in the presence of the Minister of Infrastructure and Equipment, Mr. Hassan Muhammad Ibrahim, the Secretary General of the Prime Minister's Office, Mr. Naguib Abdullah Mohammed Kamil, the Ambassador of Djibouti to Saudi Arabia, Mr. Daya ad-Din Said, was also present. The Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Mr. Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, received today a Saudi delegation led by the Saudi Deputy Minister of Transport and Logistics, Dr. Rameh bin Mohammed Al-Rumeih. The visit of prospecting and business allowed fruitful discussions on business opportunities in Djibouti, especially in the field of transport and logistics. The event was attended by the Minister of Infrastructure and Equipment, Mr. Hassan Muhammad Ibrahim, the President of the Authority of Ports and Free Zones of Djibouti, Mr. Obakar Umar Hadi, Director General of the National Airline Air Djibouti, Mr. Abdurrahman Ali Abdullahi, and other senior officials of the institutions of infrastructure in Djibouti. The delegation visiting the Ministry of Foreign Affairs outlined their business ideas for Djibouti and their willingness to establish partnerships with their Djiboutian counterparts. The Minister of Infrastructure and Equipment, Mr. Hassan Muhammad Ibrahim, did not fail to demonstrate the place of regional hub and logistics platform transit and transshipment of our country. Shifting gears right now, the Ministry of Social Affairs and Solidarity welcomed delegations from friendly and brotherly countries, Comoros and Madagascar, in the framework of an exchange and experiences visit aiming at learning from tools and systems for the identification and coordination of beneficiaries of social projects and programs. The experience of the social register set up by the Ministry of Social Affairs and Solidarity was at the center of discussion during the main visits. Indeed, this is an information system that administers the socio-economic data of households benefiting from social protection programs. In addition, the social register allows the identification of vulnerable households through social survey and assessments of household living conditions, the unique registration of each projection offered to beneficiaries, and finally, the sharing of a household. Following the visit of the Saudi delegation to Djibouti, the Saudi Deputy Minister of Transport and Logistics, Dr. Rameh bin Mohammed Al-Rumeih, emphasized the importance of Djibouti as a logistic hub and highlighted the potential, the collaboration with Djiboutian counterparts, as well as he expressed his willingness to collaborate with the Djiboutian counterparts and explore investment opportunities in various sectors. The Minister of Infrastructure and Equipment, Mr. Hassan Humad Ibrahim, and the President of the port, Mr. Abu Bakr Umar Hadi, organized a visit to the port infrastructure for the Deputy Minister of Transport and Logistics of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Dr. Rumeh Al-Rumah, who came to Djibouti for a two-day working visit. The visit was made to SGTD, DMP, Nagat Station, and the Marjok Industrial Park. Mr. Hassan Humad Ibrahim and Mr. Abu Bakr Umar Hadi, as well as the general managers, welcomed the members of the delegation to give them explanation on the activities and performance of each of these sites. This is an essential link that is also connected to the port of DCT and DMP, accompanied by the Ministry of Transport and Equipment and presence of ports and free zones. The Saudi delegation were respectively went to the port of DCT and DMP in order to see the skills in terms of maritime infrastructure that Djibouti has. The DCT Dorla Container Terminal was inaugurated in 2008 by the President of the Republic himself, Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh. It has 6 grantee carriers, 16 grantee carriers, and 400 connection points to refer containers, a significant assist in the 18-meter deep berthing dock. At the end of the Saudi delegation visited the new free zone located at PK23. The delegation was welcomed by the President of the Free Zones Authority, always present by them to present them the works of the port. The Ministry of Social Affairs and Solidarity welcomed delegations from friendly and brotherly countries, Comoros and Madagascar, in the framework of exchange and experience visit aiming at learning from tools and systems for the identification and coordination of beneficiaries of social projects and programs. The experience of a social register set up by the Ministry of Social Affairs and Solidarity was at the center of discussions during the many visits. Indeed, this is an information system that administrates the social assessments of household conditions, the unique registration of each household and individual using biometric technology, the guarantee of coordination of social protection offered to beneficiaries, and finally the sharing of household information to determine eligibility for programs. Also, part of a stay of the delegation of senior officials from Comoros and Madagascar to learn about the tools for identification and registration of the population of vulnerable households set up by partners of the ministry were organized, notably the National Union of Djiboutian Women, the Pension Saving and Credit Union, and the National Agency for the Disabled. The delegation were able to exchange with the respective heads of these institutions and learn for more about the tools and systems put in place to identify vulnerable population in order to receive benefit. Under the leadership of Her Excellency Mrs. Mariam Hamadou Ali, Minister Delegate in charge of Digital Economy and Innovation, and His Excellency Mr. Isman Ibrahim Roble, Minister of Budget, it was organized at the Center for Leadership and Entrepreneurship, a workshop to popularize the new tax regime for micro and very small enterprises. The Djibouti Chamber of Commerce, the Popular Savings and Credit Bank, the National Agency for Investment Promotion, the Djibouti Partial Credit Guarantee Fund, the National Agency for Disabled Persons, the Djibouti Social Development Agency, as well as many young entrepreneurs took part in this ceremony. The main objective of this workshop was to popularize the new tax regime in favor of micro enterprises and very small enterprises contained in the Finance Act for the year 2023. It also aims to open the way to formalization to economic agents operating in the formal economy, given the importance in the economic fabric in the country. That specific tax regime also targets income generating activities in the capital and in the regions benefiting from programs implemented by the ADDS. Under the patronage of the Ministry of Communication in charge of Posts and Telecommunications, the Union for the French-Speaking Press of Djibouti, which is known in short as UPF, organized yesterday the award ceremony of the press at the Sheraton Hotel. This annual award ceremony took place in the presence of the Chinese ambassador to Djibouti, the president of the UPF of Djibouti, and many professionals of the press and audiovisual. This prize was awarded to journalists of the audiovisual, including Mr. Ali Abdullahi, Ali Ahmed, and Fatuma Mahmoud of the RTD, and the former journalist Mrs. Hasna Maki. These prizes are composed mainly of air tickets and laptops. The press award is becoming a permanent annual appointment long awaited by the Djibouti media professionals who have the opportunity through this competition to express their professionalism and showcase their expertise in compliance with the ethics and deontology of the profession. The UPF Djibouti, through this award, wants to contribute to the promotion of the press in our country, to create a spirit of emulation among journalists of the press and audiovisual, to promote quality journalism and motivate them to their profession. A project to build new headquarters for the Djibouti Army is about to be born and was initiated yesterday with the ceremony of the moving of the current headquarters to the temporary site of the Hotel Officers Hassan Basuma. This project was chaired by the Chief of General Staff of the Armed Forces and saw the participation of staff of the General Staff of the Armed Forces, the Director General of the National Police, and other important personalities. With the approach of the blessed month of Ramadan, this colorful ceremony will start with the review of the Sembga, which will be followed by a Quranic verse, which will be read by Captain Muhammad Amin Muhammad of the General Directorate of International Relations. Let's follow.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا اجتنبوا كثيرا من الظن إن بعض الظن إثم ولا تجسسوا ولا يغتب بعضكم بعضا أيحب أحدكم أن يأكل لحم أخيه ميتا فكرهتموه واتقوا الله إن الله تواب رحيم. صدق الله العظيم.
Pending the construction of this new headquarters, this temporary site will house the staff of the various officers. This was explained during the presentation prepared for this purpose, at the end of which the staff were briefed on this temporary location and the new headquarters that will replace the old one on the same site. The Chief of the General Staff of the Armed Forces took the opportunity to review the new facilities. The presentation in the meeting room gave way to the military festivities in the middle of the day, animated by the Harpi Folklore Group. During this festivities, the COSG, the staff, and the honorable guests enjoyed a breakfast and a lunch prepared for this occasion. Let us all watch.
arligeennan hooyaan rabaa inaan ammaanayo jabuuta ayammaan baatihiyo meel agaasimano amba nabadii tallaatihiyo arad barwaaqeedo ilaya albiyale baa tahayo oonka ka tiraho ibaacana aad leedo hoon gurin abidkoode
اللهم اشف مرضانا ومرضى المسلمين اللهم اشفهم يا رب العالمين بهذا الشهر الكريم ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
As part of the social assistance programs, the Diwan of Zakat proceeded with the distribution of Zakat for the year 2022. And the third and fourth tranches of sponsorship for orphans for the year 2022 at the level of the region of Obokh. The distribution ceremony took place in the presence of representatives of Diwan al-Zakat and local authorities as well as families and orphans benefiting from this noble gesture. In this regard, about 102 families from poor to elderly and low-income families benefited from the zakat collected last year, while 61 orphans benefited from the third and fourth tranches of sponsorship or kafala called in Arabic. The officials of Diwan al-Zakat and the representatives of the authorities of the region of Tajura have in turn stressed the great importance of zakat and kafala to improve living conditions of vulnerable groups in society. The family of Umar Abedid and Fathia Hussein, residents of Sheikh Usman, has issued a search notice following the disappearance of their child named Hamdi Umar Abedid, who is just 3 years old. According to the information received from the family, the little Hamdi was wearing a red shirt and is unaware of his name. For any useful information, please call this number 77880699 or 77877080. I repeat, 77880699 or 77877018. Shifting gears towards the international scene now, regarding global warming, the hottest years the world has seen in recent times will be among the coolest within a generation regardless of the level of greenhouse emissions by humanity. The IPCC experts warn global warming caused by human activity will reach 1.5 Celsius compared to the pre-industrial era by 2030-2035. The IPCC experts warned Monday in their new scientific report that some of the last 9 years of research representing the most up-to-date scientific synthesis on climate. By this hour of loud viewers, we finally conclude this edition. Thank you for being with us and make sure to tune in later for more. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you once again.